neighborhood look that bad.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order at 8:32. And welcome everyone. Consideration of others and the business conducted today, silence your phones or any other electronic devices and refrain from speaking unless recognized. Our meeting is being broadcast via Zoom. If you're interested in speaking during public comment, let me know. When public comment opens, we'll let you speak. Again, it's a public meeting for the community of Glendora. All right. We will now conduct a roll call. All members are present except for board member Snyder. Anyone like to do the Pledge of Allegiance? Kathy? Show you. We'll now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Does anybody wish to reorder or add to?
I wanted to add something. I wanted to discuss the budget for Wine Walk in terms of our collaboration with Juanito this year. Proposing that we get the adequate funds needed to supply the wine. There was some concern shared about not receiving the amount that he needed in a timely manner last year because of the ordering that needs to be done to obtain discounts that would provide extra savings to the bid. And so I just wanted to see if we had any timelines we could provide or any kind of clarification on that. And if we don't, I'm just bringing it up.
Yeah.
Hi, Ronnie. Hi, it's Megan. Joe, I'll let you speak too if you have something to add to this, but we have already been in communication with Juanito. We set even earlier deadlines this year for Wine Walk commitment stops so that we can get that information over to Juanito. He can do the ordering, all the things. So I think we're shaping up to be totally fine for this year.
All right. We will now open public comment, inviting members of the public to address this legislative body. Get 3 minutes, speaking once on both on and off agenda items. Does anybody have any public comment? You guys are just here. Welcome.
Anyone on Zoom? Or is it on the street?
What?
We're
Here to
on the
listen so
street.
we can help.
Awesome. Yeah. Love it. Okay. None by email. We'll now close the public comment period and we'll move to inviting reports from each board member. I can give a quick report on the wine walk. I'm sure Megan's going to speak more to that. But we had the event is live. People are starting to sign up. I think we have, as of yesterday, we had 16 people signed up for it already. And then the first marketing email goes out this Saturday.
Right?
Yeah, so we are definitely more ahead of things than we were last year. Just good. Megan and Joe have been a big help.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
We had a marketing committee meeting, budget meeting, and we'll share some of the budget stuff later. But I thought that was very productive. And one of the things that came out of that was well, a couple of things came out of that. And if I missed anything, but we're going to focus social media. We're going to put a little bit more budget to it so that we can have more photography done in the village, and then we're going to have a focus in social media. We're going to decrease the focus on individual business promotions. I will continue to repost stuff, but we're going to try to put together a shot list and then get a bank of photography that is more general. And we're also going to try to focus on some of the things in the village, around the village generally, that are maybe less known, like, a lot of people have date night on Wednesday night because there's people drop their kids off at one of the local churches, and a lot of people walk downtown and have date night. And so what are like kind of the village specific things that locals know about, but that wouldn't be evident wouldn't be something that we would necessarily promote? What are things that are kind of like the general feel of the village that would attract people to come and visit it? So we're going to try and market the village as a whole a bit more in the coming year. And we're also going to try and put more money towards that effort, and also towards actual advertising on social channels. So we'll be doing more work in the coming months, putting all of that together.
What's your name?
Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, I'm one of the chamber ambassadors. So you were talking about the Glendora Village and the marketing. Are you the one that runs the Glendora Village page on like Instagram and
No,
Facebook?
no, that's Louise.
Louise,
So,
oh, okay.
so we have hired Louise to run social media and update the website. So yeah, she's the one who's doing that.
So when you were talking about your efforts, what were you talking about specifically then?
So we formed a marketing committee. So I think what we're trying to do potentially is move some of what we end up doing here into committees. So we formed a marketing committee. We have wine walk committee, and do we have any other committees?
Not at this time.
Okay. So some of that was so Ronnie, myself, Joe, and Louise could meet and have some of these conversations, put together a plan, and then bring that back to this meeting and say, hey, here's what we met about, here's what we did. If anybody has any comment about that, let us know. But that's what we're going.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only other thing that I wanted to say personally was I would really like to try to see these meetings become a bit more efficient and faster. We're here for an hour and a half every month. And a lot of the conversations that we have here seem to be conversations that could be had in those committees. And so even things like, social media update, all of the stats, all of that stuff, like that could be things that are reported at the committee level. And then these meetings could be for actionable items, things that we need to make decisions about, or things that we need to have actual conversation or discussion about, so that we can sort of streamline this a little bit. That's just my personal.
No, I think the biggest takeaway for the meeting was our marketing budget increasing for Louise. She is our social media coordinator, and it's important for us to get more eyes on the village, bring them down here to experience what we have to offer down here, and moving the needle a little bit more with moving some funds to that so that we can support her with that budget, more photography, like Matt was saying, and really getting the visibility our small businesses deserve as bid members of the district, so bid district members. And so it's important to us to give those businesses highlights. And I think it should be a good one.
All right. Anybody else? Happy? All right. Well, unbiased reports from Josina. Bid manager. Is that a new title?
No, I think that's what it is.
All right.
I don't even know, I'm just joking.
That's why you're the bid manager.
We just wanted to share with the chamber, we have our cuisines at the foothills coming up. We're looking for restaurants, and we contact our local restaurants. It's gonna be in May 14th. So that's a great event to take part in, buy tickets for, stuff like that too. And that's all I want to share at this point, you know, but we'll be talking about money here for, momentarily.
All right, Alicia, Chantel, do you guys have a financial update?
Yes, as you guys probably already seen the email that Joe sent out, the city council approved the amended bylaws on January 14th. And also I will be conducting a mid-inspection for all the outdoor dining on February 11th, so I'll be downtown. Also, the annual plan meeting dates. March 7th, I will come to you guys with the annual plan to present the annual plan. On the 25th, I will present it to the city council, and then on May 13th, the public hearing will be open. And then that's it.
I just wanted to really quickly piggyback off of what Matt said regarding the meetings being longer and just, you know, your whole comment in general, to really take advantage of the people that are here today and on Zoom, because the committees that you guys, you know, establish and develop, they can be, and they should be comprised of bid members as well, not just the board. And I know the last meeting, you guys mentioned, you know, about it being taxing, and you guys have businesses to run and things to do, you know, really take advantage of the bid members that aren't on the board that would like to be involved in your individual committee. So just, you know, some feedback so the meetings aren't so long, because those are things that can be discussed, you know, at those committee meetings. Just want to make that comment.
Ambassadors too.
All right, we'll go to Megan Kay to report.
Good morning, friends. So as Matt mentioned, as of right now for event efforts, we are focusing on our wine walk. So a few weeks ago, we went around dropping off wine walk commitment sheet forms to all businesses that qualify to be pour stops for this year's events. So as a reminder, we cannot offer pour stops to restaurants that already hold liquor licenses because you cannot hold two liquor licenses. So the businesses that are eligible, we went ahead and sent out commitment sheet forms. If businesses were closed or not there, we also emailed out the commitment sheet forms and sponsor sheet forms to businesses as well. The deadline for that was actually on Friday. So I know we have a few more trickling in of businesses that have emailed me, just letting me know that they're going to be getting that in here in the next day or so. So again, if there's any businesses on this call, or, you know, for our bid board members to spread the word, if you've touched base with any businesses that haven't and are interested, please get that in as soon as possible. So exactly to Ronnie's point, we have a very accurate amount of wine that we know that needs to get ordered. So Juanito has plenty of time at Coco Vino to procure a good, you know, list of selections for our guests that attend. And then as Matt mentioned as well, we are rolling out again our early bird pricing for we first send that out opportunity to our previous attendees. And then starting February 15th is when the pricing will go up to our normal pricing of $50. We then will have in-store sales at Crust and Crumble again, starting February 15th and going till March 15th, or if we sell out before then. Other than that, I think that's all we have. Like I said, we're continuing procuring sponsors, and we're just going to keep the ball rolling on this.
How many stops do we have so far?
As of right now, Joe, you could correct me. I think we have maybe 10 or 12, maybe more.
We're at 15 now.
15. Okay, perfect. 15.
Rob?
Quick question about the layout of the street. I was talking to Kara from Kara's Corner, and she was wondering if there was going to be music, and if so, was it going to be spread out from end to end, or what's that going to look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So luckily, we've been able to make some really good connections over the last 6 months with a few people that can help source out bands and trios, duos, all the things. So I think entertainment this year, we're going to have an abundance of it. The only thing that we're we're kind of changing from last year is that instead of having multiple check-in spots and trying to manage that, we're doing one check-in spot in the bus plaza. So the bus plaza is going to be kind of headquarters, so to speak, for check-in, check-out, questions lost and found, etc. So because of that, we are still going to be doing entertainment at the north end of the street, south end of the street, but we're also intending to fill quite a few spots just intermixed in between. Luckily, but unluckily, we do have some storefronts that are not occupied at the moment that are good locations to just put bands and entertainment in front of.
Final question, I promise. Any street vendors gonna be out here? You said attractions, so what are we talking about in terms of that?
Oh, so just entertainment, no outside vendors for this event. In years past, the only time that it was an opportunity to have outside businesses come is if they wanted to have a sponsorship position. But since we're still, as for the, I would say, we're still kind of digesting / kind of formulating a policy for outside vendors. It hasn't been established yet, so we're going to continue with how we normally do it, which is no outside businesses and vendors permitted for this event. It's exclusively for bid members.
Thank you.
Megan, we had talked about doing a trial run of vendor booths for this.
Yes. So I think actually what the conclusion that we came to was instead of opening up in terms of to complete outside businesses as a whole, that we could maybe focus within other businesses on the avenue or restaurants that would be interested in setting up a vendor booth style situation in the street. So we have decided that that's something that we're willing to try out for this year. But we also want to focus on making sure we get the pour stop commitments first. That's like stage 1 before we head into stage 2 of filling the street, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Are we having beer as well?
No.
Okay.
Can we bring beer? Just go in the restaurant.
All right, we'll go to Luis Brewer to report present.
Hi. Excuse me. Good morning, everybody. Yes, we finally got some Wine Walk messaging out now that the tickets are on sale. I have to update the websites and the Glendora Wine Walk website. It's up on Facebook and it's up on Instagram. The links are all live. Let me know if I'm missing anything in the links. In terms of impressions, reach, and engagement from last month of January, we hit a combined from Facebook and Instagram 140,000 impressions. We've reached about 64,000 unique individuals through our social media channels combined. That's Instagram and Facebook. Our current followers / fans on both media channels are 12,000, just over 12,000. We have an engagement rate of 7% to 8.56%. Engagement rate, and a total of just under 4,000 what is it called? 4,000 engagements across both platforms. I'd say for this last week, I'll be pushing a lot of Valentine's Day messaging and getting people excited to surprise their galentine or Valentine with Wine Walk tickets. And then we'll be ramping up immediately after Valentine's because I want to make sure I get as many Glendora Village Business Valentine's Day promos, whatever they have, out the door until after Valentine's Day, and then just push Wine Walk pretty hard. And then also I think it was to Ronnie's point, I would suggest putting ads, and this could be an off to the side conversation, but just, if we put $300 in a month of ad spend, we would, gain between 19,000 and 51,000 people to see our event. If we put $450 in a month, we would be able to get our posts and the tickets, in front of between 27,000 and 72,000 in a month. So if we run an ad between the 14th and the 14th, that's how many people we can expect to reach. To encourage awareness and to purchase tickets for the Wine Walk. So that's where I'm at right now.
Louise, I have a question. And I'm checking right now. Do you have the link to buy tickets in our link in bio?
Yeah, she does.
Yes, everything is to Eventbrite. I do it directly to Eventbrite. We'll also be supporting it with email marketing. I had to finalize some messaging yesterday, but yeah, everything is in the Eventbrite.
Okay.
It should be. It should be.
It is.
Perfect.
Who's the chair?
What's your name?
Myrna.
Myrna, welcome.
Luis, I have a question. How does someone submit for you to put an ad on Instagram or Facebook as part of the bid? How does that happen? Is that a form online or is that a message? How does that work?
An ad, is it one, if it's in the Glendora Village, if it's a promo, normally email is the best way, or DM. If you can't, like, I'm not logged into Glendora Village 24/7, so ideally email is the best way to share what your business is doing.
Okay, thank you.
And I know that whenever Megan sends out a mass email to the business member, she lists my contact information directly on there.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Louise.
Yeah.
We'll move to our consent calendar. And we will attempt to affirm our minutes from the January 9th, 2025 special meeting. I will request a motion to affirm minutes.
Move to affirm.
Second, I probably can't second it. Someone else. Awesome. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye. All right, motion carried 4-0. Moving to number 5, Business Improvement District Advisory Board bid expenditures for fiscal year 24-25 for January 31st, 2025. Mr. Joe, over to you.
It's, the screen and in your packet, the income side, pretty much the only thing showing as of the end of January is our assessments. You'll start to see wine walk dollars next month. So it's assessments to date, $23,863.17. Then it cash in the bank, you see up here, $177,275.30. On the expense side, this first column is what you're spending, the second column is your budget. The only change really from last month, social media, web coordinator, invoice, and your storage unit. So that's the only real change. But yeah. So at this point, your net revenue is negative $12,131.73. But as wine walk money starts coming in, and then that is where the bulk of your budget really comes from. So with that, any questions?
I have a comment.
Sure.
If you notice on the expenditure line item landscaping, it is 0. That is not the case. The city is making sure that downtown is being maintained. With the transition, we're still working on how to go ahead and do a receivable for the bid and get that to Joe. So just wanted to point that out, that that number will go up. I just am not sure when you'll see it reflected in your budget.
Yeah, actually, I have a question too, because I know we have that new guy out there cleaning. What does that fall under, and is that listed in the budget as well?
No,
Okay,
that would, I think.
So that is,
what-
Are we
a-
paying for
so
that?
that's separate. This
That
is
is-
landscaping. What I mentioned was regular landscaping that you guys have historically paid for. The day of porter, which is what I think you're talking about, is someone who's out there, I believe, for a few hours a day that just does, daily upkeep. I believe, and I can double check on this, I believe the city is absorbing that cost.
Yeah, that wasn't brought to us as a
Okay,
new thing.
that's why I was just wondering. I mean, I
Yeah.
know there's somebody out there. I was just
Yeah.
wondering who's paying for it. Where is that listed? Okay.
Yeah, that's the city's providing that for the downtown area.
Thank you.
Can we,
Can I ask a quick question when it comes to some of the people who are involved in what's budget? When we were walking by Maida the other day and somebody had basically basically thrown piles of wood chips everywhere in one of the Maida areas and knocked over all of the chess pieces, whatever. Who cleans that up when things like that happen?
That is gonna be the city. So typically that would be our public works department, and that's just on a call by call basis that we go out there and do that. I can tell you specifically who, but it is our public works department that does that.
Got it.
And I don't believe that you see that reflected in your maintenance costs.
Okay, just curious.
And that was a city effort, so the city would cover that.
Whoever sees it first. Clean it up, I think.
I think I saw it first, but I thought
Any other discussion or deliberation? Seeing none, I'll request a motion.
I'll make a motion to receive and file report.
second.
All in favor, say aye. All right, motion carries 4-0. Old business, 2025, 2026, and 26-27. This seems like new. Bid budget review and adoption. Joe, you are invited to report.
Okay, just to clarify, this was considered old because we talked about it last month, and bringing it back, so. Even though it's your budget next year, starting July 1, 25. As mentioned earlier, a small committee met, two board members, our marketing staff and myself, to kind of look at the budget. As you see on the screen, there's 4 columns. The first column is your current actual expenditures and income, that kind of, or I'm sorry, last year's. Second column is current. Third column, current budget, and the fourth column is what we're looking at for next year. And then the 26, 27 at this point is just a mirror budget, so we're only showing it once. So looking at that last column, kind of going through the different income lines. Yes, assessments, we're estimating at the 45,000 again. Halloween walk, wine walk. We're going to bump up wine walk a bit because historically it's been more than 50,000, so just kind of keeping it there. Chalk walk, 3,000 for spaces and sponsorships and such. Then miscellaneous income and interest. So with that list, total income be just over $120,000, 2,800. Questions on those at all?
Yeah, what kind of account is our money in?
Well, at this point, it's just in a checking account, but that's where we're doing.
Are you in savings account someplace?
Yeah, we can do that. Those are becoming fewer and farther. But it would have to be, if we can want to do that, we can talk about it and move it over. ACC, you guys.
Yeah, we ACC, that's.
You can't get an account at ACC.
We use the Synchrony Bank as well for ours. And, with that much money sitting in the bank,
Agenda items to give direction.
Yes.
Note that. Okay, so the Halloween walk. What money is that? Is that for just shutting the street down, or?
So that would be selling, or the Halloween walk, sorry, that would be any sponsorships and that type of stuff, if there were to be any.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have any sponsorships this year.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But, because this is the income.
Okay.
The wine walk. 20,000 bill? Have we been spending $20,000 over budget for the wine walk?
This is
No, we're not there yet. We're just looking at the, and I'll explain the expenditure. Yeah, but no, the 20,000, the expenses out of the 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go over that, but any other
So
questions?
that 70 is the new budget and 50,000 was the old budget?
Mhm.
So there's a
Oh.
$20,000 difference, right?
That, yeah. Well, it's because if you look at historically, the income's actually been 70,000. But in 2024, the income was 7, so because the
So we're-
expenses are growing,
We're just increasing budget to match what we bring in. So
Yeah.
we're spending what we bring in.
on the expense side, same thing, fourth column here. Really, the bulk of the discussion when the committee met was on in this first box over here to increase marketing dollars. Because really there weren't any specific to just general marketing. I mean, there's marketing within the different events, of course, like Wine Walk is that it has its own budget. But so if you look on the top, the print ads, still there's some money there. How much of that you want to do is up to you. Then the line 402, that basically is the same. The one we've added, which doesn't have a line number yet because it's not officially in it, is the social media, web ads, etc., all that stuff that would make a plan, which was put at 44,000. And then going down from there, web hosting, miscellaneous costs. So if you add up that segment, total is 45,000. Then the next section here is your event expenses. So Halloween walk expenses, 5,500. That's basically enough to buy 2 bags of candy for every business. Now, if that's something you want to do that much in the future, it's up to you. Wine walk expenses tend to be about 27,000 plus or minus. Buying wine and all the classes and everything that goes, it's a pretty expensive event. Chalk walk, to buy supplies. Holiday stroll. Now, just to remind you, that's holiday stroll and Santa in the Village expenses bunched together, which historically the bulk of those expenses are the carriage rides, if those were brought back next year. Which seems like people wanted them, so, because those tend to have been $12,000 or 9 to 10,000, just that part. So that's where the bulk of that expense. And then small business Saturday, we lowered that a little bit because there's going to be marketing money spent up top, and there's really not much expenditures for that. And then Friday Night Twilight, there's still a special event if there's some added stuff, and then event coordinator expenses to run. So, looking at those expenses, any questions with this? Or do you want me to just finish and then just go into discussion?
No, I think it's good. It's good to pause. I think the biggest thing here is that we are budgeting for these events and may not spend all of that money, but we are trying to have the line item there so that we can use it if we need to. So that's the thing with social media. There's a lot of additional money there, but we just want to have the ability to use it if we need to.
Questions with that? Now, looking at that, and the final part are just your everyday business stuff, other expenses comes up. Seasonal banners, the storage unit, the music system, speakers break, that type of stuff. The subscriptions or whatever is needed with that. There's still 10,000 here for landscaping that may or may need to be adjusted in the future. We'll see. So looking at that, total expenses would be 155,550, which would actually be another negative budget of 34,750. Now remember, you do have cash in the bank, which could be used. But this would be a negative budget. So at this point, with that, what we're asking our advisory board here to do is to review and adopt this budget, review this adopted budget 25, 26, 26, 27, discuss and instruct for any adjustments, and then instruct the staff to include the budget in the fiscal plan that was mentioned earlier. And as mentioned, come back next meeting to present to you that plan. That's the end of that report.
Okay, if we could go back to marketing promotions real quick.
Sure.
So it says the actual budget was 12,000 for 23-24. Our adopted budget for 24-25 is 24,000, but then the draft budget is 45.
Well, the 23-24 was the actual amount spent. That was the amount spent.
Right.
This year's budget is 24, but then next year goes up because basically you're adding another 24,000 to the new line item and then lowered a couple of the other ones. So that's where the budget increase came from.
Are you asking what that's for?
Well, I'm still not understanding the numbers here.
So,
How?
Oh,
so historically, the marketing budget was, I believe, what is it, 24.5
yeah.
was for the, through July, and that's
This one.
pretty much what it's been. I think we, the city, or the bid board approved to increase it last year, but the actuals have been significantly less. So I think you're wondering why it was increased so much if the actuals historically have been lower than the budget amount, and that's something that I'm sure the committee has discussed.
Okay.
So the budget amount is what you're allotted to spend, and you, the bid board, the membership has always spent less. So it looks like it's being increased. And again, you may or may not spend that full amount. It just depends on what the bid board decides to do forward with.
So what was the discussion around that from the committee?
The discussion around it was and I mean, I know that there's a difference between, so 23-24 actual was 10.5. 24-25 actual so far was 6, but the budget for 24-25 was 16. So whether we're going to use that whole 16 or not in this year, we don't know, and we're adding another 24 to it. The idea behind that is that Louise only has, I don't know, an hour a week to work on this. And so there's two things. One is that we don't have additional budget to actually run ads and promote posts on Instagram and Facebook. So we have some money for it, but we don't have a lot.
Yeah, there's 4,000.
4,000. So one of the ideas is, so it's twofold. One is, can we have more quality in the actual posts? And two, can we then spend money promoting those posts on Facebook and Instagram? And will that do more to attract people down there? So that's all of this. And we want the ability to be able to spend that money. We may not spend that money. But for her, functionally, an hour a week or whatever it is, I think it's only an hour a week, is not enough to come downtown, to take really high quality, beautiful photography, to craft the posts. And I think from the marketing committee's discussion, it was, we need to have like 5 or 6 top level statements about what Glendora Village stands for, who we are, and then we need to craft posts around that, because historically those have been our highest engaged posts. So when she posts pictures of Nelson's Drug Store or even Coco Vino, it doesn't get a whole lot of engagement. When she posts pictures of foothills at sunset, there's a ton of engagement. And so in our discussion previously, it was, yeah, we need to do more of the slice of life Americana, the things that make Glendora Village unique, and we need to craft posts around that. So that would give her more time and more resources to be able to do that, and then we'd be able to spend money actually boosting those posts.
Your question, Ron?
Well, we're talking about boosting posts on, you know, Instagram, things like that to get awareness. Collaboration's a huge way to do that. I mean, she's gonna have a bank of different followers than I am. But who's the social media? Louise,
Well, there's,
you know, if Louise was to throw something out there and then, you know, at least maybe just members of the chamber, things like that with all of our avenues, then we could do a collaboration.
you have to be careful with that. That's how the chamber lost their last Instagram. You can't do it too much. With like
Collaboration.
everybody. Like if the bid collaborated with every village business owner, it'd be gone.
Well, no, I was talking maybe
Just
just,
on Instagram?
just inside like the chamber ambassadors or something, you know.
So this is the bid, it's nothing to do with the chamber, you know. No, I'm just saying, we gotta, that's where the bid policy has to be put together here to do that. But I mean, there can be some collaborations, but you gotta be careful, you can't collaborate with all 120
Yeah, maybe a
businesses.
limit, maybe like
You know, it's
3
just,
collaborations a month with certain businesses, because then it would be on that post, whoever's followers is collaborating and the village. So it would just be an increased number of people organically without even putting it.
Right,
Yeah,
and they'll click to follow.
sure. The budget increase here really is again, it's just to have that money and to be able to use it if we want to. If it's not in the budget, then we can't do it. And especially for her, Louise, are you still on?
Yes, I am. I've been listening.
I think, you know, giving her a bit more budget to work with would improve the quality of what we're able to do for the village generally. And I mean, yeah, I'm really big on the quality of the photography and the quality of the actual creatives and the posts. And we're just not gonna be able to get to that level without more effort, more hours. And so I actually, you know, walking by your business, and you have that whole wall of like really, you know, beautiful photography of every single business owner in downtown, and I just like, I don't know why we can't do something like that. But in order to get that level of quality, we're gonna have to spend more money. So I'd like to reach for kind of. Kathy, said it's your question.
Oh, yeah. I get where you're coming from.
And I think in our last budget meeting, we talked a lot about decreasing some of the things that have big line items in here that don't necessarily like chalk block. So we're trying to get there, hopefully, you know.
Thanks for mentioning that, because, I mean, I know we haven't had it in a while, but the chalk walk is expensive to do. Are we having it this year? I think we scheduled the date.
did approve a date, there just hasn't been any discussion on what to do with it.
Right, so if the budget's going down for the chalk walk, yeah. Are we gonna be able to move funds around to compensate if we need extra money for that?
So a couple things to keep in mind for that. We already have the previous budget again allotted for this year's event. I also, as at the last meeting too, encouraged if we could maybe put together some sort of event committee that would be helpful for decisions like this, but more so also the scale of the chalk walk by nature of the updates that have happened on the avenue is going to be very scaled down. In years past, my understanding, there were almost up to 100 spots that could be taken by artists, and we had to supply supplies for those on an original just kind of overview of the space and what we could allow and what we could bring in. It was down to about 30 35 spaces that would be able to be sold 4 spots. So with the decrease in the budget, I still think we would be sufficient with the event, as we just don't need that much budget anymore, given the scale of what the event's going to be.
What's the date that the chalk walk is set for?
I don't have my calendar in front of me, but I believe we set it for April 5th. Joe, is that correct? I think that is what we have planned.
It's on the website,
Okay,
April 5th.
okay, thank you.
Right, any other? We're gonna request a motion to adopt the 25, 26, 26, 27 budget and instruct staff to include the budget with fiscal year 25, 26 and 26, 27 annual plan report.
Okay.
I've requested.
I motion to adopt, motion to adopt.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. And we'll now move to closing comments. Anyone on the board or staff have any closing comments? All right, seeing that.
When will our next, are we doing monthly committee meetings then from here on out? Or,
That's up to you all, but what kind of meeting schedule you want, sure.
okay. All right, then I can follow up offline.
We'll adjourn. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, did we already finalize the bylaws for the bid in terms of all of the encompassing rules and regulations in terms of board member attendance and all of that? That's already been finalized, it's been through the city, it's good.
That was our comment that I went to council last meeting in, March 28th. And council approved what the bid board adopted, so that has been finalized.
And it's on the village website.
Just making sure.
Did council say anything when?
No, I think, no, they didn't say anything. They just, are excited to see and, understanding that this is a transition period, but excited to see, the autonomy that the bid is allotted, given that you moved away from the city, the city's immediate oversight, and to see, what you guys will, develop into and what you guys do moving forward in terms of operations.
Okay.
And that's all available if you wanted to watch that part of the meeting. You could click on the item and it takes you right to the presentation on the city's website.
Okay. All right.
We will adjourn at 9:21. Fast. Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
I love it.
thanks for
Yeah.
hanging in there.
I want the